Check, check, check. Hey, what's up? It's CJ here. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I have a lot to discuss. Today is going to be, it's going to be a single topic. I have a lot to talk about, but I really want to dive into one specific thing, and a lot of it has to do with social media and the dynamic that comes along with social media in today's age. I want to talk about Temptation Island just a little bit. I also want to talk about the girl in the blue dress. I don't know if you saw the girl in the blue dress get knocked out on her little interview there. And then also I want to talk about streamers, the power play that happens with streamers. Let's get into it. Okay, so where should I start? I really want to dive into this topic, but also kind of explain how this all wraps into one and why I'm talking about all these things in the same video. And I feel like there's so much out there about these different topics that I brought up today, but I want to approach it from a different angle and kind of show how they're all relative, or they all relate to one another, and they all point at a singular issue that we're starting to have in today's age. And what I wanted to talk about first is Temptation Island. I didn't watch Temptation Island. My wife did, though. She enjoyed it, I think. I don't know. I don't even know if she finished it. But Temptation Island is one of those shows that I don't care to watch. Something about me and like the concept of these different shows, I don't agree with. I don't like seeing people in their worst states. I don't like seeing people prove that, like, how bad people can be. But I also don't like them being placed into unconventional or unlikely scenarios that kind of bring that out in the worst way. We all this is an assumption, actually. I shouldn't assume this. I know how films are made. I know the lengths that people will go to make a good show. If you ever seen Jerry Springer, I don't know if you've seen well, most of you probably seen an episode of Jerry Springer, but I'm not sure if you've seen the documentary of Jerry Springer. That's a great documentary. I really would encourage everybody to go see that, to show the lengths that people will go to create good content. I want to say Jerry Springer is probably the first like inkling of showing what people are willing to do to create content. There is no difference, mind you, between creating a TV show for Netflix or any type of mainstream network, especially a live television show like The Tonight Show, or even Oprah Winfrey, The Oprah Show. It's all about ratings. Who can get the most ratings? Who can keep the most ratings? And it's all about trying to get that next season. Like, how many seasons can we do? How long can we stay employed? And what do we need to do to make that happen? Jerry Springer took that to the next level. They were in direct competition of one of the best TV shows that was out, which was Oprah Winfrey. And how do you compete with Oprah Winfrey, right? You do above and beyond and go places where she's not willing to go. And that was the Jerry Springer Show. We are now living in the modern day, or the evolution of the Jerry Springer Show, which is social media and trying to create clout and a name for yourself on social media. What are you willing to do? right? Temptation Island is one of those shows that puts people in an unlikely scenario. And the whole goal is to get the worst out of people for ratings, right? Temptation Island gets to do more seasons if more people act out in these crazy ways. The question I have a lot of times is, would that person do the same thing if that scenario did not exist? If they weren't placed in the situation, would they do the same thing? In some cases, the answer is of course yes. If you're willing to do it on national TV, you'll probably be willing to do it at home when no one else is looking. But I think this brings the worst out of people. It brings the absolute worst, because there's another little scenario involved there, and it's public perception. People are now going on to these shows to receive some type of notoriety to receive some type of fame or some type of just career from these shows. How do you do this? You make the ratings go up, right? You're the one doing the thing that makes everyone watch. And in this case, in Temptation Island, it was the relationship between, I think her name is it Shay, or hold on, let me pull up my I think it's Shay, which is I can't remember what her name is. Is it Shantae? Shantae? Yeah, Shantae. That's what it is. Shantae and that guy, right? We shall not say his name. When we look at that scenario, one, why did they go onto the show in the first place? I think that people are now going on to these shows to start a career. To start a career on social media, to be known, to be seen, and they're willing to go onto these platforms with an agreement. Like, hey, like, we're gonna go up here, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z, maybe even get paid for it. I'm not even sure. They probably do get paid for it. And then we're gonna come out on the other side of this, and we're gonna be, famous. We're gonna be one of those famous like couples that are on social media. And this couple comes in and they do what they do. He does what he does. We're not going to talk about that aspect of it. We all know what's wrong. We're going to talk about the other aspect of it, the unseen part of that, right? And that's the part where you're using the platform that you're on to garner the public perception. Now, in the guy's case, I can't even remember what his name is. In the guy's case, being the person that he is, he sees his opportunity to get a pass. Like, to do whatever I want on TV, and then we come out on the other side of this, and we had an agreement, and we that's probably what they did. They had an agreement, and he did what he did. He gets he gets to be as the bad guy. She gets to be looked at as a good girl, and it's a win-win situation. We become popular. I don't think they took into account how people will perceive what they're doing. Yes, this all is for TV. Yes, this all is for ratings. Yes, this all is for us being able to be famous and gain attention after the fact. But did we foresee this happening, which is the public perceiving Shantae as the idiot who took the guy back, and him as he honestly kind of came out of this unscathed, if you really think about it. Now, the host actually had a conversation with them, and what he said, one of his takes was that she should have just broke up with him on the show. And I think he understands what I'm getting at, is that there is a public perception that comes along with shows like this, and just give the audience what they want. And the hard part about that, especially for Shantae, is knowing what the audience wants in the moment of doing it. Now, the host, he's done these shows before. He's like, girl, this is what you need to do. But without telling her that, how is she to know? You gotta think of it as like, this is being filmed. I'm essentially live. What is filmed has been filmed, and you can't go back and change it. And in the moment, for her, she probably felt like she was doing the right thing because, one, she was following probably the agreement that her and her boyfriend had. But that doesn't change the public perception. She had no idea of how to know what the public, or how the public is going to take this, right? The host did, because he's been in these scenarios before. Break up with them now on camera. Then when you go home, you can do whatever you want to do. Who cares what you do when you go home? On the show, you need to do this. And that's because there is this invisible thing happening when you are on social media, when you're on live, when you're on a TV show. And that is the public perception. People perceiving it the way they perceive it. And if you're not in tune with that or don't know how that works, you could find yourself in some trouble, like Shantae has. Now, of course, why does anyone feel like that they went on the show just to get some type of notoriety for themselves after this? Now, this was her recent response and post, and it seems that they've broken up for now, and it seems like they're no longer together. But it says, after much thought, this is Shantae speaking, after much thought and reflection, Brianna and I have decided to part ways for now. There's no bad blood, just two people recognizing that we need time and space to process this journey. I have so much I want to share with you all, and I hope you will continue to support and encourage me as I step into this next chapter. Now, this is why I feel like you went on the show to get something out of it, or to receive some notoriety, or to receive some type of fame or social media following, because she asked for people to continue to support her, and she has so much that she wants to share. And that means I want to tell you about my journey. I hope that you follow me along on my journey. I want to continue to post. I want to continue to go live. I mean, they've been going live on IG. And so they're trying to ride this wave of fame. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes you find yourself in a situation that you weren't ready for. And I don't think Shantae was ready for this situation. And the question is it worth it? Is it worth it to go on national television, do what you did, and then come out on the other side of it and pretend like, hey, it's just a show? It's not. I don't think she'll get the love that I think that she thinks she will get. I don't think a lot of women will actually be kind of receptive to her point of view. I think a lot of people really don't care what she got to say, to be honest with you, because when you do what she did on national television, which is not stick up, because a lot of women probably saw themselves in her. A lot of women probably saw themselves as like, hey, like, I've been in that situation before. Here's what I would do in that situation. And you not doing that, especially as a black woman, black women need to be represented well on television. Every moment that they're on TV, every moment that they're in the spotlight is a crucial moment. And that's a lot of weight to hold. But every moment on television, you're representing all black women in that moment. I don't think Shantae really understood that at the moment, but her actions were a bad representation as far as how black women want to be perceived. And it doesn't allow for black women to feel respected or feel as if they have power and respect and love. Have some respect not only for yourself but also for other black women who are seeing themselves in you in this situation. I just don't think Shantae understood that at the time. So I do feel like there may be a lot of black women who don't want to hear anything that she has to say because of how she represented them on TV. And I would love to hear your thoughts about that, especially black women. I would love to hear your thoughts about that. But that's how public perception can go, right? That's how it can go. Now, let's lean into that a little bit more and let's go into the woman in the blue dress. I don't know if you've seen this, but this also relates to this in different aspects and different ways. But the woman in the blue dress, she was literally out here. I mean, I guess her content style is, hey, I'm going to interview people and I'm going to have a camera. Of course, she asks people to interview. But what's interesting about these type of interviews is that they're not designed to actually have an honest conversation. They're designed to entrap the person being interviewed into either saying something or doing
babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused. That's the point. What I'm saying. That's real.
Look. So a lot of people on TikTok are saying like, okay, she the lady in the blue dress got what she deserved because she is putting this girl in this situation. And some people, they talk with their hands. You know, you could talk online, you could talk on social media, you can talk in the comment section. Some people talk with their hands. And they'll put their hands and all their feet on you if they're in these type of situations. Very similar to people going into different stores and, trying to get a reaction out of people. Some of these are lighthearted and fun. Some of these can be downright, just egregious and downright, the response that these are real people in the wild, real life people that will put their hands and paws on you if you keep playing with them. Not everybody's having a good day. Not everybody's here for a laugh. Not everybody is with what you with. And a lot of these influencers will put themselves in these moments of honestly danger to create content because it sells. It's the Jerry Springer. It's the do anything at all costs to create the content that creates views or gets views. The expense and the cost is that response. Putting yourself in danger, somebody can put their hands on you. You're not above or beyond that. Now, was it right for the girl to put her hands on her? No. But is it right to place people on camera and then funnel them into a gotcha moment? The problem with this interview is more so that you have done the research on this topic. You know your talking points. You know where you're trying to lead people to. And you're trying to get a response from them to create the content that either earns you money or earns you notoriety or earns you some sort of social media fame. Neither one is morally right. Putting your hands on somebody, probably shouldn't do that. But I think it's much more egregious, in my opinion, to place this person in this situation knowing what you're trying to do with the camera, with the microphone, with the interview, with the pointed question, and trying to funnel them into a situation where they either look stupid or feel like they've said something wrong or feel like their opinion is idiotic. And you find the right person, you're going to find the right result. Now, this is also the case when we move on to streamers. I would love to hear your thoughts about the blue dress lady. I'll leave those down below as well. But let's talk about the streamers. I personally feel like there's a lot of streamers who are just downright lame. And the reason why I say that is because, one, I know what it's like to be on camera. I know what it's like to be on camera. I know what it's like to create content. I know what it's like to create content with a purpose that is perceived differently from the purpose once it goes online. And I know what it's like to be in a situation where you have to make a decision of, hey, am I going to do this thing despite knowing that it's wrong, or am I going to do the right thing? I know what that feels like. And there has been moments where I've probably chose the wrong choice. And there's moments where I say, hold up, like YouTube, social media is one thing, but my life and my reality and the genuine relationships that I have with my family, friends, and others is another thing. It's one of the reasons why you don't see me film a lot of people in my life. I don't film a lot of my family. I don't film a lot of people who don't want to be on camera. I don't just pull out the camera and just start recording. I don't just show up at somebody's spot with my camera rolling. I don't do none of that. I do know people who do. And they're not fun to be around. Streamers are, in many cases, those type of people. One, they make content for children. In a lot of cases, they make content for children. And two, there's an inherent power dynamic that comes with wielding a camera and wielding a platform. There was a power dynamic with the woman in the blue dress. There was a power dynamic with the Temptation Island show. There was a power dynamic with Jerry Springer, where they would literally fly people out and make them do things that they really didn't want to do. The same thing happens on these streams. Now, live streamers, a lot of times they're filming live for sometimes days, sometimes months at a time. And the problem with that is that it's very hard to have genuine reactions or genuine interactions with people when the cameras are rolling, especially for people who are not used to being on camera, people who are, placed in a situation where there is this power dynamic. Time and time again, I see streamers go on their platforms, they'll bring people into their spaces, and then they'll place them in these situations to get a response, to make the stream go viral, to have these clips that help promote the stream. And it places people in a situation where a lot of times it's a lose-lose, right? Let's say a streamer is talking to someone and they say something crazy. Now, the cameras are rolling live. They done said what they done said. The cameras are rolling. So it's out there. There's a chat. They're responding to it, right? Now, you are on the other end of that. You're on the receiving end of what they said. And you have a choice to make. Either I let it slide on live, in front of the chat, in front of the world, or I go off and I respond. Either way, in streams, it's happening in YouTubers and TikTok creators. The question is, what are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? The problem is, in different spaces, I had this conversation with a few friends not too long ago, and the problem is that we live in a society where we've grown up in a capitalistic world where exploitation is the fuel to capitalism. And we find this in everything that we do. We find exploitation. Who are these streamers, these YouTubers, and these social media influencers willing to exploit in order to get what they want? That is a question that we have to ask ourselves. In your daily life, are you willing to exploit people to get what you want? And a lot of times, the people who are doing it at the highest level are doing it a lot of times, not all the time, a lot of the times, they're exploiting someone, exploiting something in order to get what they want. And we have to ask ourselves, eventually we're going to have to ask ourselves, is it worth it? And time again, we see people in these situations and it ain't worth it. Should we ask the girl in the blue dress if it's worth it? Should we ask Shantae if it's worth it? I think the people at the Jerry Springer show should have gone to jail. To be honest with you, a lot of them lost their minds on that show. Producers as well. Producers and people on team lost their minds. I don't think it was worth it. At the end of the day, we got to ask ourselves that. Is it worth it? And what am I willing to do? Who am I willing to exploit to get what I want? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video.